Right, I hope you know your Mission Impossible. The unofficial branch of the CIA is known as the IMF. What does IMF stand for?
Oh, I know this one. Impossible Mission Faction.
It's not, it's Impossible Mission Force. Dude, come on, it's just a game.
Hello and welcome to the Grifford Show. It's currently snowing in England, so the whole country has come to a standstill and it's freezing. But without further ado, here's your big movie review of the week. Today's movie will be Game Night, and Josh will give you more information.
Game Night follows Max and Annie, played by Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams, a very competitive married couple who host a weekly game night with their friends. But when Max's brother Brooks shows up and decides to host a murder mystery party, things take a turn for the worst, and Max and co find themselves tasked with rescuing Brooks from a real-life hostage situation.
So we'll start off with positives, and the cast was, fantastic in this film. Jason Bateman was great.
Yeah, he does play the typical Jason Bateman type. You see it in all his other films, Horrible Bosses, and what was the other one he did with Melissa McCarthy, Identity Thief, something like that. He plays a typical sarcastic character, but he does it really well. And I thought him and Rachel McAdams had really good chemistry together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Rachel McAdams, but in this film, she's really good. She made me laugh. I think she was great. It was a good performance from her.
Yeah, she really looked like she was having a lot of fun with the role. But overall, the cast in general, like the main friend group, is just brilliant. They had great chemistry. They were constantly exchanging jokes, and it really worked as a whole. But I think for both of us, you can go on to it a little bit more, but the standout and the guy who stole every single scene was Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, he was just fantastic. I mean, Jesse Plemons, who I think came to most people's eyes in Breaking Bad, where he was
Todd.
Yeah, Todd. Yeah, a lot more serious role, but he sort of carried on that whole almost creep-like character.
In Breaking Bad, he did a lot of creepy, unforgiving stuff. We obviously won't talk about any of that in case you haven't watched Breaking Bad. Yeah. But in this film, he's very, very weird. He delivers a lot of his lines with a deadpan humour, but it was just absolutely hilarious.
Like you're sort of there with like Jason Bateman and the rest of the main cast when he's just sort of talking, and they're just sort of like, okay, but that's what adds to the humour. Also, the fact that his dog was really, really cute.
Yeah, but who doesn't love a cute dog?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So what this film does really well, that a lot of films like this have struggled with in the past, is it has a really good blend of action and comedy. And when it's funny, it is really funny. Like throughout the film, I found myself laughing almost constantly.
And the action scenes that come usually before a ridiculously funny scene, great. Like it's almost like it's two genres in one, really. Like the action scenes are like what you'd see like in an action movie, almost Taken-esque.
Yeah, there's a lot of good like fist fights, and then it just cuts back to a funny moment, and it just pulls it off really well. Like something that Marvel haven't been able to do is they like to undercut their serious moments with a bit of humour, but it doesn't really work because it's a Marvel movie. Whereas it works in this film because it's a comedy at its core. So, and then you were saying about the action scenes. There's a lot of really good ones, but the standout was there's like a one shot scene. We won't really go into the story behind it now, but really entertaining. Yeah,
because obviously, we'll call it the MacGuffin because that's essentially what it is. They're basically chucking about this building while running away from bad guys. Yeah, and because it also has a bit of comedy in it, because obviously these people aren't action superstars really, so they're just sort of flailing their way about this place, which is what makes it really good.
Yeah, and then with that type of camera angles as well, the cinematography was really surprising with this sort of film. Like you think with a comedy you wouldn't really have a lot of these moments, but there's a lot of establishing shots that make it look like a board game, and there's even like a few overhead shots of cars that I don't know for you, but it made me feel like I was playing GTA or something. Like it follows a car from the top, and then I thought it was really, really surprising for this type of film to do that. And then just going back to the funny bits as well, because there is a lot of it. Everyone has their fair shot of jokes, and I think that was done really well.
Yeah, and like a lot of comedies make mistake of, it didn't put all the best jokes in the trailer. Like even you know, a bit like I, Tonya, the funny bits that they put in the trailer were still really funny when you saw them in context.
Now, I'm a sucker for movie references, so this film does it quite a lot. And one of my favourite ones is in a bar, Rachel McAdams, and she does an incredible quote from Pulp Fiction, and I won't ruin it because, you know, you might want to watch this film and you don't want to have all the jokes spoiled for you, but it was just hilarious, and, you know, there was loads of other times like this.
Yeah, and I think what was great is a lot of the characters in the film didn't get a lot of references, but it was sort of like including the audience in that way. It's like almost a bit of like audience participation, where it's like, yeah, I get the reference, you know, go a bit Captain America, or, you know, I get that reference.
Oh yeah. See, we're referencing movies in a review. Yeah. Look at that.
You know, the movie's also really relatable. You know, we've all been there. You know, playing games with your friends, you get competitive. You know, Monopoly in particular, always a competitive game.
Yeah, you know, we've all been in that point where you land on, you know, Park Lane and someone's got about 18 different hotels in there, and then you want to blow your brains out because you got to fork up all your money. Yeah. I'm looking at you, Dad.
You know, because there's not really many bad points about this film, we're not going to have a bad section this week. But, you know, it's also a good bad bit where, you know, there's twists in the film, which really work. You know, there's twists with the story, and there's also twists with the characters. Like, the characters get given this archetype which gets flipped on their heads, which is great. And the story has at least 2, maybe 3 twists in it. I'm not going to spoil them, obviously. Like,
you know, you think something's going to happen, and then it just completely flips the script and does something different. Why it could be considered a bad point is that it does come right to the edge of being too confusing. They almost fill the film with too much twists, and luckily they don't bridge that gap, but they came really close to it. And then the only other thing really was that there's one unbelievably stupid character, and you sit there and you think, how can anyone be this stupid? But it works, doesn't it?
Because he's sort of paired up with the character Sarah, who is really intelligent.
Yeah.
And I think they sort of just bounce off one another because they have this growing chemistry throughout the story anyway. But, you know, the story itself, like you said about the ridiculousness, I think it also covers its tracks because it foreshadows a lot. Like it mentions things before they just appear. It's not like they just appear for the sake of the story. Like, they're mentioned and then they come in. But yeah, it does get on the verge. But fortunately, you know, they were smart enough to stop it just before it got ridiculous.
Yeah. So, good job, movie. You've done well.
Game Night was, you know, a comedy which I think got everything right. You know, pretty much nearly got everything right. It was funny, had good action, it was great balance, and I give this film a 7.6.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said everything I was going to say, so I'm just going to jump straight to score and give it an 8. I really like this film, so you should definitely go check it out.
Okay, so that was our review of Game Night. Have you seen it? What are your thoughts? Let us know. Also, what board game or game in general gets your competitive juices going? Mine personally is Monopoly. That gets everybody's juices going.
My one's not even a board game. It is Crash Team Racing, and it's a battle mode. And every time I played against my sister, I always beat her in the races, but then she always kicks my ass in the battle mode. So that is the one for me. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave us a like, subscribe to the channel for more great movie stuff, and ding the bell so you can stay up to date with all of our brand new videos. And don't forget to find us on social media. We're like next to my head somewhere. And we will see you
next time.
You finished my sentence. Bye bye.
What? Possible mission faction.
No, it's Impossible Mission 4, you suck! I completely missed it. Messed up. Don't forget to leave us a like if you enjoyed the video. No, wait, what was I saying? As always, subscribe? No, not as always. People don't always. This is the easy bit. Dave for all of your videos, and as always, you know, I ramble on so much.